And here in Washington, where President Trump appears to be locked in a standoff with the nation's courts, in recent days, a string of judicial decisions have created major roadblocks for the president's policies and executive orders meant to reshape the nation. Several high-profile rulings have placed the judiciary as a check on the White House at a time when observers say the Republican-controlled Congress has largely stepped aside, giving the president more room to advance his agenda. In fact, many of his policies, from immigration to tariffs and the restructuring of the federal government itself, are now tied up in legal challenges. Here are some of the recent rulings that have gone against the White House. On Wednesday, a U.S. judge overturned deep funding cuts to Harvard University, which had frozen more than $2 billion over allegations of anti-Semitism and bias at the Ivy League school. U.S. District Judge Allison Burroughs of Boston, an Obama appointee, said the administration had quote-unquote used anti-Semitism as a smokescreen for targeted, ideologically motivated attacks on the nation's premier universities.
It is clear, even based solely on Harvard's own admissions, that Harvard has been plagued by anti-Semitism in recent years and could have done a better job of dealing with the issue. That said, there is, in reality, little connection between the research affected by the grant terminations and anti-Semitism.
However, the administration, which vowed to appeal, argued that its move was legally justified, citing Harvard's alleged failure to protect Jewish and Israeli students during campus protests against Israel's war in Gaza. White House spokeswoman Liz Houston said Harvard had no constitutional right to taxpayer funds and remained ineligible for future grants. Harvard, however, has denied all claims of the administration, saying President Trump was seeking to control the university's hiring, admissions, and curriculum. Then last week, a U.S. appeals court ruled that most of President Trump's tariffs were illegal, undercutting his use of them as a key economic policy tool. The court said Congress had not given the president wide-ranging authority to impose tariffs. But for now, the tariffs remain in place after the court delayed its order until October. On Tuesday, the president said his administration would ask the Supreme Court for an expedited ruling.
Going to the Supreme Court, we think tomorrow, because we need an early decision. I mean, look, the financial fabric of our country, we're a rich, incredible country right now, and we're able to, other countries use tariffs on us for years.
Then on Wednesday, President Trump warned that the U.S. may have to, quote-unquote, unwind trade deals with the European Union, Japan, and South Korea if his administration loses the case.
A very big case in the Supreme Court. I can only say this. Our country has a chance to be unbelievably rich again, but it can also be unbelievably poor again. If we don't win that case, our country is going to suffer so greatly.
What's the backup plan, sir?
But I think we're going to have a big victory.
And turning to the third major ruling against the administration, a federal judge on Tuesday reportedly blocked the government from using the military to fight crime in California as President Trump threatened to deploy troops to more U.S. cities, including Chicago. San Francisco-based U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer ruled that the administration had willfully violated a law known as the Posse Comitatus Act, which sharply limits the use of the military for domestic enforcement.
There is no question that federal personnel should be able to perform their jobs without fearing for their safety. But to use this as a hook to send military troops alongside federal agents wherever they go proves too much and would frustrate the very purpose of the Posse Comitatus Act.
Now, Breyer put his ruling on hold until September 12th, and reports suggest the Trump administration plans to appeal. Now, on the same day, an appeals court also ruled against the president's use of wartime law to deport alleged Venezuelan gang members, blocking its application in some southern states. So as the cases move forward, some of which may be challenged by the administration, they're shaping up to be high-stakes legal showdowns that could define the scope of President Trump's second term.
Firstpost now available in 9 languages on YouTube. English,
At $36 trillion.
French,
Le FMI, comme
German,
Geschäftsführenden Direktor,
Hindi,
$30 trillion ka-charge mo.
Indonesian,
Pemerintah tanpa pemeriksaan.
Italian,
Fiskali radikali.
Japanese,
Yon todo do idioma.
Portuguese,
Por causa do próprio balanço patrimonial.
Spanish.
Beautiful bill.
Go to Settings, Click on Audio Track and select a language of your choice. Be the first to know what's happening around you in your first language. Firstpost.